Hi, everybody. It's Adam Greenfitter again with our thought leadership. Today, we're talking about St. Maarten and specifically why St. Maarten now. I have the pleasure of being with a longtime colleague and friend, Harrison, who's with me actually from St. Maarten. And I'd like to pass it over to you, Harrison, and if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Adam. Hello, my name is Harrison Drouin-Reed. I'm the owner of St. Maarten Sothebys International Realty, along with my mother, Leslie Reed. We've been doing business here in St. Maarten since 1999, and we specialize in luxury real estates, vacation rentals, and property management.
The question that we want to talk about today is, why St. Maarten now? But in order to kind of understand the now, it's really important to understand the past, right? Tell me where you've been, tell me where you are, and tell me where you're going. And so when we spoke, this month in St. Maarten, you actually were talking to me about kind of the history of St. Maarten as a luxury destination. Tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. At St. Maarten, in the 60s and the 70s was a go-to luxury destination in the Caribbean. It was one of the few destinations actually back at the time, starting with La Samana Hotel in French St. Maarten, but you also had the Indigo Bay Resort. And since that time, it's always attracted a very high-end clientele, but the island has changed and evolved over time to what it's become now. And we see that luxury clientele also going to St. Bart's and Anguilla, and the region overall attracting a very affluent guest, buyer, or overall client. And that's the history of St. Maarten. And I think now it's kind of going full circle where it really started as a luxury destination. It grew into a destination that's much more eclectic. There's something for everyone. It's not just a luxury destination, right? It attracts all sorts of people, but St. Maarten, I think, is doing a circling back to there's limited real estate. There's more and more demand. Prices are going up. And so it's becoming more and more of an expensive destination, which was not always the case, let's say 15 years ago and so forth. And we saw tremendous growth happen after COVID, or let's just say in the midst of COVID, where the island started attracting clients that it hadn't necessarily attracted before. And then we can go into why that is and how that happened. But COVID was very much something that propelled the island in that direction. And now we're really seeing the strong demand internationally for St. Maarten, for the real estate.
Yeah, I mean, I just had the pleasure, and I'm going to underline that twice, of flying out of SXM last week. And if anyone has not been at that airport in the last couple of weeks, you are going to be shocked by how luxurious and amazing that departure airport is right now.
Yeah, the island has airlift from all of the major North American cities, that being New York, Toronto, Montreal, and as you start going a bit more south, Atlanta, the Carolinas, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, even down to Panama. And then connecting flights in Europe with Paris, Amsterdam. So you really have, and of course, regionally with several different Caribbean islands like Barbados and other islands like those. So St. Maarten, for the size, has a tremendous amount of direct flights. And that's what makes the island so accessible. And that's a big part why people travel to St. Maarten, other than it's a great destination and it's a great place to come to. It's an easy place to get to. And that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's for those that don't know, St. Maarten has had that claim to fame of actually having people watch the airplanes take off and depart and get blasted.
That's exactly right.
Jet blast, right? I mean, that's
have you done it?
I am proud to say that I have not done it.
Okay.
I usually sit at the bar that's next to it and wave at all the people, but every time I come, it just continues to be one of the major tourist attractions. And I think it highlights, really, at the end of the day, the amazing connectivity that St. Maarten has. And so a lot of people kind of, they ask me, well, why does St. Maarten have such great airlift? And I've often been told or heard from locals that a lot of this has to do with its duty-free nature as an island, and as a provider of goods for the other islands. Can you explain that a little bit?
St. Maarten has always been a free port. Essentially, there is no duty tax on any goods that come to St. Maarten, right? Yes, over the years, that's been a part of our tourism is the duty-free tourism, where people do come and buy goods in St. Maarten that are not taxed. But that extends to a lot of other things. Let's just even say construction, right? You come down to St. Maarten, you buy a piece of land, you build your house. Anything that you're bringing into St. Maarten to build your house, or even the furniture, appliances, you name it, none of it's taxed.
Let's understand a little bit about the duty-free and the relationship to kind of all the restaurants and food that's available in St. Maarten. I mean, I've heard numbers that St. Maarten has up to 300 restaurants. I mean, is that true?
And St. Maarten is coined as the culinary capital of the Caribbean because of the diversity and the amount of restaurants we have here. There's a strong European influence around food, but there's just a strong Caribbean influence around food. And so people who love food, who appreciate food, and find that it's really important component to their vacation, love St. Maarten.
Why St. Maarten Now? It's always had great airlift. It's always had great restaurants. Kind of, what do you think makes St. Maarten today unique, as we're turning a new chapter on the island's history?
Why? So why St. Maarten Now? Well, I think it's the strong demand from international buyers on an investment side. That means that economically, the island's strong. I think the island has doubled down on its infrastructure, which is really important, whether you talk about the Dutch side, and we've done a lot of talking about the Dutch side, but also the French side of the island. Both governments are making significant investments in their infrastructure to sustain that future growth. Another thing is the tourism industry. Our tourism industry keeps on growing and thriving. And we're seeing new hotels opening up. We're seeing more interest in commercial property across. Has a lot of high demand, but not that much supply, right? People can buy nations, and they're coming to discover St. Maarten, right? And they're investing in St. Maarten. Coming into the island, they're driving the real estate market up, and we're just seeing overall growth. So a lot of things that make St. Maarten an easy destination. Even if you go into the purchasing process, right? And we talk about real estate. St. Maarten is a super transparent real estate process with the civil law notaries and two distinct legal systems. But again, those legal systems bring a lot of assurances to people when they're investing in St. Maarten on a Caribbean island. And people appreciate that. And it's very much one island as opposed to two distinct sides, right? It really operates as one. You can go to one side and the other, and you cross an open border. Nobody's stopping you, checking, hey, where are you coming from? None of that. It's just simple. There's the dollar on the island. There's the euro. There's the Caribbean, the Dutch Caribbean guilder as well, right?
I've never seen a guilder. Do they actually circulate? Because I've
been.
They do.
They do. Well, we don't see it as often, but they definitely do. But they do. And you have two of the major currencies in the world that are used interchangeably between both sides. You can pay in dollar and euros. It's legal.
Is there any decent boating in the region?
Once you get on a yacht or a boat, the entire region becomes your playground. You get to go to St. Bart's, you get to go to Anguilla, Saba, and all of the nearby islands. But specifically St. Maarten has excellent infrastructure for boating and yachting, right? A ton of marinas that can accommodate larger vessels like mega yachts. And so St. Maarten becomes the mega yacht hub for the Caribbean during the winter season. And all the big boats come to St. Maarten, and then they use it as a base. Either they yacht around St. Maarten, or then they go out to the neighboring islands. And they're provisioned here locally because of the air freight, the ocean freight, and the various infrastructure that allows to sustain these mega vessels. And obviously, smaller boats and so forth. Now, well, more than ever are we seeing that people are keeping their yachts here. They're yachting around St. Maarten. They might have a property in St. Maarten, and they can keep, for example, their plane in St. Maarten. That's something that shows me that people are really starting to see how St. Maarten is a superior destination, and it is a one-stop shop, right? You don't have to take your boat and go elsewhere. You can enjoy St. Maarten and the neighboring islands, but you can come back to St. Maarten and enjoy the destination for what it is.
We also have not talked about ground transportation, driving around the island, being able to rent a car and just moving freely. There are some places in the Caribbean where that's you really can't do that, or it's not recommended. What's it like to drive in St. Maarten?
Yeah, you most of the time rent a car right away, and you go out and you explore that entire destination. I mean, we have some all-inclusive resorts, but we're not an all-inclusive resort destination, comparatively speaking to other Caribbean islands, where a big part of the experience is discovering the destination, yourself, and simple things like driving on the right side of the road, being able to use the US dollar, the euro anywhere you go. Everybody speaks English. And then on the French side, they speak French, of course. Spanish is spoken frequently and widely throughout the entire island. So it makes St. Maarten a very easy destination to discover for the first time. That's what I love about St. Maarten, is the eclecticness of the destination.
Great. And so now that we've really explored kind of why St. Maarten Now, let's talk real estate. You are owner of Sothebys. You guys are one of the strongest luxury brands on the island, and I understand that there's really a lot of activity going on the Dutch side of St. Maarten today that might not have been going on in the past. Kind of, what's your take on the real estate market in general, and then specifically on the Dutch side?
The island is a small island, and there's less and less inventory, right? And specifically land. And so that just drives up the prices that we're seeing around the island. That demand has greatly increased, and developers coming and seeing St. Maarten as a great investment because of the strength of the tourism. And St. Maarten is a great place because you can buy a house and then it can rent for 50-60% of the year or more.
A lot of people don't realize, when you say house, there's some very, very large villas that have been built over the years in St. Maarten by famous people as well. Some of these are not small, to say the least. I mean, what does an average rental, luxury rental in St. Maarten look like?
On the island, I would say a lot of the properties will be anywhere from 3,500 square feet, 4,000 square feet, all the way up to 10,000 square feet. 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, up to 10 bedrooms. Average rental for us is about $8,500 per week. And then the larger properties, beachfront properties, things like that, will be $15,000, $20,000, even up to $40,000 during peak season.
So you really have rentals that compare to St. Bart's and Anguilla already that are in St. Maarten. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Today on the Dutch side, we see St. Maarten as an interesting destination tax-wise, because it has no property tax. And we also have no capital gains tax on Dutch St. Maarten. And I think that's a big part of why the Dutch side is seeing a lot of the growth that it's seeing now within new development. You have a bay called Indigo Bay, which has some of the most beautiful villas and luxury villas and large villas that are a lot of exciting developments in Indigo Bay. So the entire beach parcel is going to be turned into a 5-star hotel, resort and residence called Vie L'Ven, getting built. And that's going to be approximately 280 suites right there in the bay. It will be a 5-star resort and residence, and it'll be the first 5-star resort and residence in St. Maarten, which is Vie L'Ven is a great answer to your question of why St. Maarten now, because we're seeing that these types of projects are happening in St. Maarten right now. And that's why people should get involved in St. Maarten right now, because it's all happening right now. The pieces are coming together where, and I think that's going to change a lot of things. It's going to make St. Maarten, not a stop and go, but a stop and stay. Perception is everything, right? And so St. Maarten is working hard to really be perceived as a true luxury destination, and that perception is going to be an important piece of the puzzle for the future success of this island.
Really appreciate the conversation, Harrison, and your insights on St. Maarten. Thank you so much for joining us.